Welcome to All Things Battlefield Earth, and this is part 6 of the Battlefield Earth book versus the movie. And we pick up where Johnny has just completed probably one of his first rounds of listening to the Chinko instruction guide, I guess we'll call it. In the book, it was him sitting in his cage listening to an instruction machine which he would feed disc into. But now he is teaching his fellow friends how to read and write and do math, and so he's teaching them the things they're going to need to know to help him with the revolt. Now in the book, Johnny spent a year by himself, and then Chrissy was captured, and Patty. They were put in the cage, and then he went with Turl and recruited 50. Actually, it was supposed to be 50 men and women. Turned out to be close to 100, because everyone wanted to be a part of this once Johnny told his story. That's where we meet the Scotts, and they become a part of this. Johnny taught them how to fly planes, but he had additional learning machines that he had several people listen to. So it wasn't just Johnny, but for the purpose of the movie, we have just Johnny, listening to going through the instruction machine, or in this case, the actual, Chinko. This is a race that has been killed off by the Cyclos. So you're seeing one of them showing up as just an image. But so here starts the revolt. First, Johnny masterminds this takeover. They find a way to get into Turl's vault. They get his recording devices. They get his blast guns, and they're planning on doing, ultimately taking over. Now, at this point, Turl doesn't know Johnny can speak, read, write, the whole deal. He doesn't know he understands Cyclo. So this would be a nice surprise when Johnny finally reveals. In the book, Johnny finally reveals that he can read, that he can talk. Very late on, he wouldn't let Turl know that he knew, because he wanted to listen and pick up everything he could before he let Turl know that he truly understood what was going on. So here, back at the village, Chrissy, Windsplitter returns, and that's when she is very upset and worried that Johnny may not be okay, that he may be killed. Now in the book, the pass was covered with snow, so it took several months for Windsplitter to return. But once he does return to the village, Chrissy is dead set on going after him. So she jumps on a horse, not Windsplitter, and decides to take off near Sabin Carcenti, learning how, as she told us in the interview that we did, that she, when she interviewed, they said, "Do you know how to ride a horse?" She said, "Yeah." And then she immediately had to learn how to ride a horse because she had no idea. But this is her at the gates, and Parson is basically saying, "Look, I can't let you go do this." She's like, "I'm not a child anymore. You can't stop me." So she takes off, and she is on her way to save Johnny. Now in the book, it's Johnny. Patty followed Chrissy, and so it turns out that Chrissy and Patty both went and were both captured by Turl. But here we are again. Johnny's back in the learning place, and Turl's getting frustrated because he's not talking Cyclo. He doesn't think he's learning, and you see the scene where he shoves that rat in Johnny's mouth, and it's like, basically wanting to reward him because he's getting frustrated that Johnny's not responding to anything. So this is where all of his friends pop out with blast guns, who incidentally find out were not loaded, because as Turl says, if you know anything about weapons, you know that you never store loaded weapons. So this hostile takeover fails, unfortunately. But in this scene, it's pretty funny because Johnny's like, hey, you're gonna go get a transport, talking to Kerr, and Turtle's just laughing because he's like, just because you can speak Cyclo doesn't mean you become one. And so this goes badly for them. And so here in a moment, we see Mickey. He jumps up and tries to physically assault Turtle with the blast gun. And of course, when you come near a Cyclo, they're so powerful and tall. They've got the claws. He could have killed him if he wanted to, but he grabs him by the throat. And Johnny says, you put him down, or I won't mine an ounce of your gold. And so Turtle decides to teach Johnny, basically try to cower him and to teach him a lesson coming up. And this is him being very amused that Johnny is claiming he won't mine the gold and he won't do anything, unless Turtle listens. Now later on, it'll be in the next video. There is and I will actually mix that. I will actually use let you hear the audio of the book, because what is said in that scene is identical with the changing of one word from the book. So again, hats off to the writers who took such a bad time of negative reviews regarding this movie. They really stay close to the book. And that doesn't mean that the book is not good. The book is one of the best pieces of science fiction out there. And if you ever get a chance to read it, you will see what I'm talking about. Literally no one writes like L. Ron Hubbard. It's truly amazing. So here, part of cowering Johnny, Turtle takes him to a library of books. And he says, this contains everything that you humans are or were. In fact, it only took 9 minutes for us to defeat you. No one on Earth, none of your advanced military whatever could defeat us, right? So he's trying to tell Johnny that hey, no matter what you do, no matter what harebrained idea you've got is going to, by the way, beautiful matte painting, nothing you can do. You're saying, hey, we defeated you in 9 minutes. Now in the book, I think I'll have to do a separate video on that. In the book, it was several days before the final revolt, before the Air Force Academy cadets had that final battle, before the president's air finally subsided and the president died. This was several days into the occupation of Cyclo taking over Earth. We learned lots of amazing details of the day we were attacked. And side note, I do have a script written up of all those things put together and created fictional characters to drive that story along. And I think that it'll be interesting to kind of see that. And again, I don't own any of that. That is L. Ron Hubbard, the information Mr. Hubbard gave us, and that is owned by Galaxy Press. I'm just a fan who loves to let other people see how just amazing this book really is. So here, Johnny, that's a first edition Battlefield Earth book he's holding in his hand, just a side note. And this is Turtle walking away, making a comment about, I'm sure you'll find, recipes of how to prepare raw rat, and Turtle's laughing incessantly. So, very nice theatrical moments in this movie. Turtle is exactly, minus the total just deviant, psychotic behavior, as bad as it was, as he was in the book, they toned him down a bit. So yeah, very, very much like the book. I love this because this reminds me of how great the book really is, and people who have watched the movie and who've not had a chance to read the book are unfortunately missing out. So please take a chance, download the audiobook. 65 plus actors, 150,000 special effects. It's truly a movie of the mind. So if you don't have time to read, you can download it. You can get the DVD set. It's truly an amazing book. But here we do see Turl in his true form of thinking that murder and inflicting pain on other things and beings is delicious. So this is another attempt for him to cower Johnny. He goes through this big, huge speech of how great he is, how he can, which he did in the book. He bragged about being able to shoot the heads off of rats. And so after he tells this long story of how awesome he is and don't mess with him, he looks at Johnny and says, "Tell him what I've said." And he says, "If we run, he'll kill us." And Turl's like, "That's it?" Anyway, thank you again for watching, and please tune in to part 7.